The studio is buzzing with excitement as the band finishes playing Leanne Morgan onto the stage. She steps out in her bright outfit, waving sweetly to the audience, her trademark Southern charm filling the room. The crowd cheers loudly, everyone expecting a fun, light-hearted interview. Jimmy Fallon walks forward to greet her, but his smile flickers for just a second, almost like he's forcing it. Leanne notices, but she keeps her composure and laughs politely as they shake hands. They sit down. Leanne adjusts the cushion behind her and settles comfortably, but she can feel something odd. Jimmy's energy is unusually tense, slightly stiff, not his playful self. The lights warm her face, the applause fades, and the cameras roll. Jimmy shuffles his cue cards a bit too quickly, glances at Leanne, then at the audience. Leanne gives him a soft smile, trying to lighten the mood, but deep inside she wonders. Why does this feel different today? The audience waits, unaware that the show is about to take a surprising turn. Jimmy leans forward in his chair, flipping through his cue cards again as if searching for the right moment. The audience waits, expecting a joke or a fun story, but instead Jimmy brings up one of Leanne's recent tour jokes. His tone is light at first, but there's an edge underneath. So, Leanne, that joke you made last week, some people said it was a bit bold. He raises an eyebrow. Leanne gives a small laugh, brushing her hair behind her ear. Oh honey, that's just me being me. My audience loved it. Jimmy doesn't smile this time. He taps his card on the arm of his chair. But do you think maybe it crossed a line? Leanne's expression tightens just a little. She sits up straighter, trying to keep the moment playful. Well, sweetie, I talk about real life. Sometimes real life is bold. Jimmy interrupts with a quick, sure, but his voice carries a hint of challenge. The audience shifts, sensing the tension building with every exchange. Leanne's laugh becomes shorter, sharper. Jimmy's eyes narrow as he continues pressing the topic, not letting it slide. The friendly talk show atmosphere starts to dissolve, replaced by something sharper, heavier, almost like a debate disguised as a conversation. The energy on stage changes, and everyone can feel it. The air in the studio feels heavier now, almost like everyone is holding their breath. Jimmy adjusts his posture, sitting up straighter, his expression more serious than before. He tries to keep his voice calm, but the tension slips through. Look, he says, tapping the cue card against his knee, I just think comedians today have to be a little more careful. Times are changing. Leanne lifts her chin slightly. Her eyes focus right on him, steady, calm, but clearly firm. She folds her hands in her lap, breathes in slowly, and answers with a quiet strength. Jimmy, I've been doing this a long time. I know my audience. I know what makes them laugh. I'm not hurting anybody. Her southern sweetness is still there, but underneath it is steel. Jimmy opens his mouth to reply, but Leanne continues before he can jump in. You invited me here because people enjoy what I do, she says, voice steady. So don't act surprised when I actually do it. A few people in the audience gasp softly. Some exchange uneasy glances. Others lean forward, sensing something big approaching. Jimmy chuckles awkwardly, trying to soften the moment, but the laugh doesn't land. He rubs the back of his neck, then gestures toward her with his cue card, saying, I'm just saying, maybe the world is a little different now. Maybe you need to adjust. Leanne tilts her head, the faintest smile forming, one that doesn't reach her eyes. It's the look of someone who has already made up her mind about how she feels. The stage lights shine a bit too brightly. The silence between sentences grows longer. Even the band members shift behind their instruments. Something is clearly about to snap, but it hasn't happened yet. A thick silence fills the studio, so heavy it's almost physical. The cameras keep rolling, unsure whether to cut, while the audience sits frozen in their seats, many with hands half raised like they aren't sure whether to clap or cover their mouths. Jimmy stays seated for a moment, staring toward the side of the stage, his expression caught somewhere between shock and confusion. He shifts in his chair, clears his throat, and forces a small laugh that doesn't sound like him. He glances at the producers off stage, almost asking silently, what now? The band members look at each other, uncertain whether they should play something or wait. One of them gently adjusts their instrument, the small sound echoing awkwardly in the quiet room. Meanwhile, backstage, the hallway is brightly lit and still. Leanne's heels click sharply against the floor as she walks with brisk, deliberate steps. Her breathing is steady, but her face is tight with emotion, frustration, disappointment, maybe even hurt. A stage assistant steps aside quickly to let her pass, watching her with wide, surprised eyes. Back on stage, Jimmy adjusts his suit jacket, sits up straighter, and tries to collect himself. The audience watches him intensely, whispering among themselves, unsure if they should laugh, gasp, or stay silent. Some hold their phones, already wondering if they should start recording in case something else happens. The tension stretches, long and uneasy, as everyone waits for what Jimmy will say or do next. And what will happen to the rest of the show. The control room above the studio suddenly bursts into frantic motion. Producers stand up from their seats, talking over each other, pointing at monitors showing Leanne backstage and Jimmy sitting alone on the couch. Red lights flash on equipment as someone shouts, "Do we cut to commercial? Do we stay live?" Down on the studio floor, crew members begin to move quickly but quietly, camera operators adjusting their angles, stage managers whispering into headsets, trying not to attract too much attention. One of them kneels beside a camera, eyes wide, whispering, "This is going viral already, I can feel it." In the audience, emotions swirl. Some people lean forward eagerly, whispering, "Did she really just walk out?" Others look uncomfortable, glancing at the exit or at each other, unsure whether they should be worried or amused. A few fans of Leanne cross their arms defensively, shaking their heads at Jimmy's last comment. A low murmur spreads through the crowd, the kind that grows when people know they witnessed something big, something unexpected, something that might be replayed millions of times. A nervous intern rushes backstage, trying to approach Leanne but stopping halfway, unsure if interrupting her is a good idea. She's standing near a back wall now, arms crossed lightly, her jaw set, her eyes fixed on the floor as she tries to steady herself. Meanwhile, Jimmy lifts a hand to his forehead, rubbing it slowly. His face shows a complicated mix: regret, frustration, embarrassment, and confusion. He looks toward the audience, then toward the band, then toward the stage entrance where Leanne disappeared moments earlier. No one knows what the next few seconds will bring. And the entire studio holds its breath as tension continues to rise.